all I could really do was show you how much I love you and appreciate you. So, happy Valentine's Day, baby.
Baby, I love you, don't you notice? You the reason why I wrote this when everything else feels hopeless. You put it all back in focus when I'm sad and I wanna cry. I can take a look into your eye, to your surprise, just realize you make me glad to be alive. Made you smile many times, made you cry plenty times. Apologize every time, need me, call me anytime. Together this world can be ours. Get the money and get the power. Give you candy, gifts and flowers, then caress you in the shower. Got big plans for the future. I'm your man, I just can't lose it. I gotta prove it to you the right way is how I do you. Need a real woman by my side, filled with love and a lot of pride. Don't keep your feelings up inside, express them to me and never hide. I'm not perfect, but I'm worth it, more to you than just your surface. All your kisses and your wishes making me feel all so nervous. Don't wanna live without you, there's something that's so real about you. I can't explain, you take my pain, my love for you is nothing but true. All the love I feel inside is keeping me alive when I look into your eyes. It's keeping me alive whenever I see your smile. It's keeping me alive, thoughts of us having a child. It's keeping me alive. Don't wanna be like Bonnie and Clyde, cause they already done died. Anticipate our wedding date, the day you become my bride. Cause I need you in my life, plus I see you as my wife. Our love don't have no price, kiss and hug at night, that's right. I love your waist and your thighs, love your face and your eyes. Your taste make me rise like a cake between your thighs. Never experienced real love until I finally met you. Cause you special, can't forget you. When you gotta go, it's hard to let you come back. Don't be long, you know I miss you when you gone. I can't kiss you when you gone. I won't hit you, that'll be wrong. Been through dilemmas like Nelly and Kelly, but you tell me that you ready. I believe you won't deceive you, so I hold you nice and steady. Wipe your tears with my finger. I'm a rapper, you a singer. Many nights full of laughter now. Tell me, do you remember? Hold you close, propose a toast to the one that I love the most. Other women try to boast, but none of them could ever come close. All the love I feel inside is keeping me alive when I look into your eyes. It's keeping me alive whenever I see your smile. It's keeping me alive, thoughts of us having a child. It's keeping me alive. I would die for you, give my life for you, give my day, give my evening and give my night for you. I'ma succeed, proceed to fulfill my dreams and share it all with my queen. Cause you already know one thing, I love them based just on some green. You deserve the finer things, necklace, chains, and diamond rings. When we get the same last name, maybe then your friend will stop playing these games. But until then, he on thin ice. Lately things ain't been too right. I guess it's just the stress of life that makes me a little bit less than I apologize, please don't cry. Dry those tears from beneath your eyes, head to the sky. Show your smile, never give up and always try. When we apart, it hurts sometimes. We made it through the worst of times. Our time to shine, I'm glad you mine. We can stand the test of time. Cause I appreciate you. The best thing I did was date you, never hate you, congratulate you. Show you love whenever I face you. Make me happy to be alive, to make you happy. I'm gonna strive, be the best that I can be. You and me will always survive. All the love I feel inside is keeping me alive when I look into your eyes. It's keeping me alive whenever I see your smile. It's keeping me alive, thoughts of us having a child. It's keeping me alive.
What's what's up, Straight Talk Society? This is your boy Trevor, and I am back with another episode of Straight Talk Sessions. It is your Friday night rap session, known as the Straight Talk Sessions, here on the Straight Talk Society. So I gotta this stream isn't going to be long tonight. This stream is more so we're going to introduce a new show coming to the Straight Talk Society. Because as you guys know, oh, first of all, I'm just rambling. Can you guys hear me? First of all, yeah, I got a couple people listening. Just give me a heads up if you could hear me. I'm assuming you guys can hear me. Let me see. You can hear me. All right. I know I'm being heard. All right. So we have a couple of shows coming to the Straight Talk Society. And I'm very excited for this one. When I introduced the society, I mentioned that we were going to have a all women's panel, where the women would take over the panel and they'd get into their women's discussions. So tonight we're going to do just a brief introduction to what's in store for that type of show. So let me see, is my guest ready? Give me a thumbs up if you're ready. Just waiting for her to turn the camera on. Let me see if she's ready. All right. So just so you guys know, whenever you guys hear that song that just played, that's from the Silent Assassin, and it's entitled "Keeping Me Alive." It's basically a love letter to his woman. That's how I take it. So whenever this guest comes on, you're gonna hear me play that song. So without further ado, let me bring on the queen of the Straight Talk Society. What's going on?
What's up, everybody?
All right. So you guys know, well, you don't know. Let me introduce you to my lovely wife. The person that you guys have heard me talk about in droves to a point where people were going crazy saying that I was throwing my wife in their face. But so this is the person that's responsible for the whole podcast. This is the person that put the podcast together. This is the person who told me just start talking. So you guys get mad, you kind of could blame her a little bit.
Just a little bit.
So, all right. So this is going to be real quick, and then I have another announcement afterwards. But like I said, the Straight Talk Society, we have I almost let that cat out of the bag. Well, okay, I will let the cat out of the bag, but we have the UFC show. We have the Straight Talk Sessions, which this is, and now we're having a show. I don't know. We'll find out when the first show is going to be, but it's a new show called Pour Your Heart Out. It's a woman-centered panel, just like I said. And then also me and Venkat will be doing our own wrestling show, independently of anything else that we're doing. We'll do our own wrestling show where we break down the science of particular matches and things like that. And we'll also be doing the Dolphins. I'll be doing the Dolphins recaps, and basketball playoffs are coming up and things like that. So over here in the Straight Talk Society, it's going to be a one-stop shop. Anybody's welcome, just as long as you don't bring any drama from any other panel and you come on this panel. Anybody's welcome on this panel. You just got to be respectful. The minute you get out of line, your ass is booted. And that's how it is. So without further ado, how you doing?
I am great. How are you?
I'm good. So let's start here. Pour Your Heart Out. That's the name of the new show coming up, right?
Yes, that's the name of it. Pour Your Heart Out, Black Women's Honest Conversations.
What gave you the idea to do that?
Well, I've been listening to your podcast and everything, and I love the fact that you give men an opportunity to, come out, and basically what y'all doing is y'all pouring y'all hearts out too. Y'all just doing it in a manlier way. But I like the platform of just being able to come and talk about whatever is on your mind and all of that. And I know that there are a lot of spaces for women to do that, but I'm thinking about the women that I am surrounded by, whether directly or indirectly, and all of the different experiences that we've been through, especially those of us that are kind of up there in age, not saying that we're old or anything, but in our 30s, 40s, and 50s, we have some experiences that are unique to us being Black women. We have the challenges of being women, period, and that brings on its own set of challenges. But being Black women and being Black women in America in this day and age and all of the things that we have to go through, I felt that we needed a space where we can just come together and just pour our hearts out. And I came up with the title because, I'm a wine girl. I love me some wine. So I'm thinking about, like, girl talk, just sitting around, sipping on some wine or whatever they choose to pour in their cups, and just talking about things that matter the most to us as Black women. So I thought that this would be a perfect opportunity. You have this amazing space, and I'm shy. I'm not just trying to be all out there with a whole podcast and all of that. So I figured I'd just take over your little space maybe once a month, me and some of the ladies, and do our thing.
So let me ask you a question. I've told you how toxic and ridiculous some spaces on YouTube are. You've seen it firsthand.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And what I try to create over here is a safe space where anybody could come over. Shout out to my cousin Kevin in the chat. Welcome to the society where I don't care. I mean, I don't care if you're Black, white, whatever, man, woman, gay, straight, whatever. You have the ability to come over here and share your story and pour your heart out. So I want to get this right off the bat. I've always said this to you in conversation that women, the reason you guys take what we say negatively is because for so long we've never had the platform to voice our opinions. So now you guys are just hearing what we always wanted to say, but never had a space to say it. So now, will the pour your heart out be a man bashing session?
Absolutely not. I love the Black man, good, bad, and indifferent. So this is not going to be a space for bashing men. Now, we are going to be speaking on our personal experiences, and sometimes that's going to come with, talking about the bad that we've dealt with men. So there are going to be some, it's not going to be always a kumbaya, men are just the most wonderfulest thing in the world, but the goal is not to be bashing men, because we want to use this as much as possible as a way to kind of bridge that miscommunication gap between Black men and Black women, because I listen to what you and your guys say in your show, and some of it I'm like, oh my gosh, like, he need a hush. And then some of it, being real, I have to be like, that makes sense. I may not agree with it, but it makes sense. And I find myself talking back to you all, like, well, we feel that way because of this or because of that. And, there's not that real dialogue going on. So I'm hoping to use this as a way where we can speak our truth, talk about real experiences that can't be refuted because they're our experiences. But at the same time, trying to bridge that miscommunication gap between Black men.
Oh, you're breaking up a little bit.
Out uplifting community, and you all can speak from your experiences dealing with Black women and being Black men. We have to speak from our experiences of being Black women and dealing with Black men, but not just dealing with Black men, dealing with each other as Black women, because that can be a whole issue in itself. Black women dealing with other Black women. So it's not just going to be about our dealings with men. It won't be a man bashing thing at all, but we're just going to talk about everything that we deal with as Black women and as mothers, wives, friends, all of that.
So will there ever be opportunity for crossover?
I've actually been thinking about that, and I think that that would be an awesome idea. So there'll definitely be an opportunity for that. You know, there may be some topics where we may need to, you know, have a man's perspective on it, or just have an open forum where it's just you guys and us girls on at the same time and just having some dialogue and getting some understanding. So absolutely.
So let me ask you this question. Do you think females are ready for that type of conversation, though, where they actually are on a panel where they can contain their emotions and not and listen versus just always be on the defense, and vice versa? Because we shut down and people and people. So here's the thing, because people think we agree on everything. We do not.
Oh my God, absolutely not. Absolutely not. If I were a cursor, I would drop the F-bomb. Absolutely
Wait a minute.
not.
Wait a minute.
I still love you though, but we don't agree with everything. And that's one thing that I also want people to know is, like, they see us on Facebook and we don't portray to be the perfect couple, because we're not by far. Obviously, we're not just going to be blasting our relationship issues like some people do with their own relationships, but we're not perfect. We have our problems and things like that. And I'm going to have an opportunity to, like, get some stuff off my chest as well.
So, and I'm glad you said that, because people do have this misconception. People, they say this to us all the time. Oh, Michelle and Barack and stuff like that. I'm like, well,
and we don't know what Michelle and Barack go through behind closed doors.
Exactly. I'm like, hey, listen, don't put anybody's plight on us, man. Our whole motto in our family is just, we're just team us. We just do us, and that's it. Like it works. Two imperfect people trying to work on a perfect relationship and raise a young daughter. I mean, it's like, that's all it is. That's it. I mean, in a nutshell. So I think that this is going to be a tremendous platform, because this type of conversation, this type of dialogue is definitely going to be needed, where people aren't yelling. Because I've been in these spaces where you have the men and women talking. For whatever reason, they label it the gender wars. They label it the gender wars because they don't understand how to talk to one another. Mm-hmm. Everything isn't always a war. Sometimes you have ebbs and flows. You give and take. There's been plenty of things you said to me, and I'm just like, damn, you know what? I'm going to just go ahead and concede this one. And I'm pretty sure you've done that to me thousands of times. I mean, we've been together for we've been married for almost 10 years now.
Next month will be 10 years.
Yeah, this will be our 10th year. So it's like, there's plenty of times we both had to back down to the other. And did that make you feel less of a woman?
No.
Exactly. No. And I think that's why I think this is going to be vital, because it'll be a teaching thing, because especially with the younger women, I mean, we're still early 40s, but younger women have this misconception that just because they stand down, that means that they're portraying weakness. And that's not it at all. I mean, you're showing maturity if you stand down. A lot of arguments could be prevented. A lot of hurtful things could be prevented from being said if one person just stand down. Just
exactly. Everything doesn't have to be an argument.
Just live to fight another day. You know what I mean? It's like, just I can't tell you the amount of, like, we read in the paper and you see on the news all these acts of rage, men killing their women, women killing their men, just because they got in an argument and they kept letting it go on. But then you have to find a perfect balance, because as well as me, and I try to be very transparent, I have this thing where I hold it in too long. Mm-hmm. So there has to be a perfect balance. You see, that's what I'm telling you. That's why on the Straight Talk Society, you're gonna see the inside of everything. You got to see the inner workings of how this thing goes. Like, we can't work without each other. It's a machine. So she knows. Or sometimes you'll hear me say stuff and she's like, because she knows. I never profess to be perfect, but we just somehow make it work. I mean, it's just I always say this. Like, I think I look at all the bad, I look at whatever I may think bad of her, and then I weigh it against everything that she offers that I can't live without. And I mean, and when you look at that, the list is, I mean, that bad stuff list is minuscule. It's just like, you know what I mean? So, and I think this is now going to be a teaching moment. Do you have an idea when it's going to start?
Well, I am going to have a panel of other women that are going to be joining me. And what I love about the panel is that we're so different. Like we're in the same age range. We're in our 40s and 50s, but we bring so much variety and diversity to being a Black woman. So it shows that we're just different as Black women. No two Black women are exactly alike. You know, there's different. So we're working some things out so that we can start sometime in April. There are a few of us, so I want to get details down just to make sure that everybody will be able to hop on at the same time, because you know we're moms, we're wives, we are business women, you know, entrepreneurs. We're doing a lot of different things, but it will definitely be dropping in April.
And so let me ask you this too. Damn, what was I gonna, you know, my memory is terrible. Oh God, come on, Trevor, you got it. And it was something fire too. So that's not what I was gonna say, but let me say this also. You're not gonna just have bougie women up here, correct?
No. And I'm not going to just have women that think the way that I do. I was very strategic in who I asked to be a part of this panel, because I want women that are going to challenge each other. And when I say challenge, I don't mean like we're trying to get in arguments or anything, but we're going to challenge each other, you know, to be supportive, to be understanding, and to take accountability. You know, we want to have honest conversations. So a part of having those honest conversations is we're going to have to take some accountability about, okay, like our first top. Well, should I say what the first topic is going to be?
Go ahead. Hey.
Okay, our first topic, we're going to be talking about toxic relationships. And at some point, everybody, if you've lived a while, we're not, like I say, our 40s, our 50s, we've been in at least one toxic relationship. But when we're thinking about that, we have to also think about, well, what role did I play in either getting in this toxic relationship or staying in this toxic relationship? So it's gonna require some accountability. So it's not just a panel full of these bougie women who, oh, I'm perfect, I don't go through anything, I've never done anything wrong. No, we're gonna get real. These are some real homegirls. We're professional, but we real. And we're gonna talk about some real stuff. We're gonna be accountable. We're gonna hold each other accountable. We're gonna be there to support each other and let other Black women know that, you know, your voices matter, you're important, and you're not the only one that's going through a lot of these things that you're going through. Oh, we have someone here from Ireland.
Yeah, wow. Man.
Welcome.
How you doing? Hey, not bad for the loudmouth from Florida. So here's the funny thing. I'm gonna let you guys in on a little secret. She didn't even want this. She thought that this was going to be like a segment. Like the whole time we were talking, she was thinking like, oh, this was going to be a segment. I was like, no, this is going to be a show. Like, I mean,
I fell to my stomach.
I started sending. I'm like, listen, you have the account manager on here. I mean, you're the only one that's in the admin to the show. I wish I had another one I could give it to Venkat, but I'm only allowed 2. I mean, but the minute I told you it was a show, Venkat put your banner together and everything, man. So
thank you, Venkat. You are the best. Thank you.
It's going to be a totally different layout. So what you guys are seeing now is not what you're going to see when her show comes out next month. It's going to be a totally different thing. Like my fingerprint will not be on it at all. It's her vision. It's just being done under the Straight Talk Society brand, because it's like this is what people know me for, like these type of conversations. I just so you guys know, I'm in the talks. I'm in the preliminary stages of talking with a federal correctional officer. So I'm gonna have him come on, and we're gonna talk about like the police brutality and all that stuff. We're gonna get down and dirty. Everything that I could ask him, what he can get away with without getting in trouble. I mean, we're gonna get down and dirty, man. You guys, as I say, you listen to the Straight Talk with Trevor podcast. This is what you're getting, because now it's all or nothing. I'm throwing my entire self into the Straight Talk Society on YouTube. You're going to get everything that you hear on the podcast just in video form. And like I said, all the podcasts will be generated from these Straight Talk sessions. So anybody's welcome to come on the panel if you'd like. My only thing, you don't have to turn your camera on when you're on screen, but if you're in the back, you have to turn your camera on just so I see that you're a real person and you're not trying to porn bomb me. Yeah, and again, absolutely no name calling or nothing like that. It's not allowed. It's just not allowed. So where do you see this thing going?
Well, now that I know it's a show and not a segment, originally I was looking at doing it like every other month, but I think I'm gonna start off with trying to do it monthly, and I just want it to be something that women can just look forward to. Having it panel style. We'll have our wine, we'll have our conversations, and something that can potentially grow, and we like really build a real community around this.
The wine thing sounds good to me. I'm a partaker of the spirits myself.
Yeah, we know.
So,
We know.
I'm so excited for this though, man, because it's like you were, and I say it all the time because I'm the guy that believes in giving people their flowers. I always say it that how it started. We had a conversation and I was like, damn, what if we would have recorded this? Then it was like, damn, what if we had a podcast? Oh, right. Juju, you don't say hi to the host? Oh, okay. You address the queen first. It's all
my girl.
So I was like, what if we had a podcast? And then the next day you sent me a link and you were like, I wish I still had the message, but I changed phones. You were like, click this link. You now have a podcast. And I'm like, what? and that was it. I mean, like, it was as simple as that. Like I tell y'all, now you guys will understand why I promote her the way that I do. I always say my wife is way smarter than me. So she's the one with the mind that, like she created before Venkat came on board. She was the one doing anything you guys see on the Straight Talk Society Facebook fan page. She was doing all of that. I'm just a guy with a microphone. Like literally, that's what I do. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna talk about this. Boom, hit record. She was the one creating the website. She was the one doing all of this stuff, man. That's why I put her on the pedestal that I do, because she made me better. No, I don't agree with everything she says, but at the end of the day, I took a vow to be with her and just got to deal with the shit because she's not going nowhere. I ain't
going nowhere.
Yes. So let me ask you a question. Since I've been on YouTube, since I've been getting on panels on YouTube, and you know what's been going on lately, but what's like the craziest thing you've heard me say relationship-wise where you were just like, huh?
Oh, gosh. I don't know. I can't think. Honestly, I can't think off the top of my head, but there have been a lot of things that made me kind of like raise my eyebrow. I honestly can't think of anything off the top of my head though. But I like you being in this space because I feel like as much as I know you, like you said, next month will be 10 years we've been married. So as much as I know you, I feel like I'm still learning new pieces of you through your podcast because you like open up in a whole nother way when you're on here, especially since you got on YouTube now. It's like you were meant to do this. So I'm constantly learning more about you.
Yeah, this beautiful face was never meant to be hidden behind
you don't have a radio face. You have a YouTube
face. Yeah. At some point, this face was gonna have to get out there in the open. Oh, yes.
Okay, tell Leia to go sit down.
Tell Grammy. Hey, parenthood never stops. So yeah, Juju. You know, we're doing a new show. Pour Your Heart Out. It's going to be Nini's show, a woman-driven panel. So you guys are more than welcome to come on. I know Angel will probably see this in replay, but definitely I want her on because she has
yes, definitely.
Yeah, she has a lot of input. So you guys are more than welcome to come on, man, and just pour your heart out. So I mean, since you're here and we're doing tremendous on time, we're only at 30 minutes. How you think I'm gonna say something crazy? How you want to just, we'll be married 10 years 10 years next month. You want to just give them a teaser as to how we met?
The first time, or
how did our story? You tell it the best. Go ahead and tell the story.
Our story began in 1994. We were ninth graders at our high school. I guess I probably shouldn't say the name of the high school.
Yeah, don't say the name.
We were ninth graders. We were in the same language arts class. We were cast by our language arts teacher to be Romeo and Juliet in the school play. So technically, he was like my first kiss. It was on the cheek, though. Was it on the cheek?
No, I kissed you on your lips.
Oh my God, it was on my lips. He was my first kiss.
I'm a lip kisser.
He kissed me, and he has not been the same. No, we had no other classes together at Dillard, so I still don't really know if he actually graduated from Dillard because I never saw him again after ninth grade year. Fast forward to 2008.
You talk? Oh yeah, when I first got on Facebook.
When we first got on Facebook, I think we became Facebook friends, but nothing really like a, hey, it's been a long time, and then that's it. And then 2011, we ended up meeting up at Dave and Buster for a class reunion kind of like thing. And he had this girl all up on him, like literally like she was about sitting in his lap, all up on him or whatever. So I'm like, whatever. Like, I ain't sweating him like that. But we ended up staying with a group of friends there. And when it was time to go, he chased me down to my car because he wanted to pretend like he was being a gentleman and helping me make sure I got to my car safely. And before I knew it, he was asking me out, being grown and all of that.
So our first date was crazy because like everything that could go wrong went wrong. I started having truck issues, and it like, this was like that thing where you were like, man, this is like, man, maybe this is we black people again. I always say this, we always quick to put something on God. Oh, maybe God is telling me something. I need to stay away from her type stuff. Because my truck been good the whole time, and now all of a sudden it's messing up, But we ended up going out on our first date, and like we legit been stuck at the hip ever since then.
Ever since.
So that we went on our first date that December of 2011, and January. So on New Year's Eve, New Year's night, January 1st of 2012. I asked her. I went old school. I asked her, will she go with me? So maybe that's a South thing. I don't know if you guys up north say stuff like that, but I asked her, I was like, will you go with me? And that was my way of asking her to be my girlfriend. And like we were watching Titanic. Ironically, we're watching the movie about a sinking ship, but all praises to the Most High, the ship haven't sunk. So we just man, we've been trucking ever since, and I asked her to marry me, like 6 months later?
We moved real quick. And that's another thing. When like we were in our 30s. We did not have time to be playing around. Our first date was December 2011. He asked me to go with him January 2012. He proposed to me June 2012. We were married April 2013. Yeah. When you know.
Yeah, we
So don't let them be telling you, oh, I don't know yet, and it take time. When you know.
So and I want to say this because this is like one of them things that I do. When a guy is engaged to a girl for like 5 years and shit, like says it's not gonna happen. I mean,
Unless
I
they
gotta,
just get engaged like real young.
yeah. But if a dude in his 30s proposes to
Yeah.
you and 5 years later he's not, he had made a move, it's not happening. It's not.
Yeah. I
I'm
wasn't gonna
sorry.
be your fiance for longer than a year, and a year would have been pushing it. Real talk.
So,
Juju is
so
asking a question. She says,
yeah,
"What's my
did I
advice
put
on
it
a
up? Okay.
long-lasting relationship?" Oh my gosh. Communication, definitely, because I feel like that's one of the main things that helped us. We don't have the very best communication, but we talk things out and we listen to each other. So that's going to be really important in a long lasting relationship, listening to the other person. And sometimes listening to them is going to mean, I don't want to say putting your feelings to the side, but stepping back in the moment, because that, like he mentioned before, you weren't here yet, there are times when I can be really strong on what I feel about something, but I have to like think about, okay, do I need to get this out in this moment, or is this something that can be, I can sit back on it, breathe on it, and then come back to it later. And a lot of times we've seen a lot of people that didn't make it past, a year or 2 years, and it's because the communication is not there. They're not listening to each other, they're not respecting each other, and that's one thing that's really big in our relationship. We have to listen to each other. We don't have to agree with it, because he doesn't agree with everything that I say. I definitely don't agree with everything that he says, but I respect him. And above anything, I know that he respects me. So that's important, listening to them and respecting them. Oh,
Juju, if you
girl,
want
Juju,
to,
you asking questions,
if you
girl.
want to come up, you could come up.
Juju
Hold on, stay
asking
right there.
questions.
Hold on, no, come. You could come here, but just don't come. Hold on, let me turn my camera off a little bit because my little one is coming in. Yeah, Juju, if you want to come up on the panel, come on, because you're asking those serious questions. You're asking those questions what this show is designed for.
Yes, and that's the type of stuff we're gonna be talking about. I like that. Did you ever have moments when you wanted to step away? And if so, what did you do or say to step away as far as leaving? I want to say no. There were times when I felt like I may have needed a break, especially with us getting together as late in life as we did. I'm sounding like we're old, but
Put
we
a little bit of
didn't
ice.
get together until we were 31. We got married at 33. We had our first child at 35. So I had been by myself for so long, bad relationships, been by myself. So now getting with this other person who's set in his ways as well, because, he was in his 30s as well. There were times when we started butting heads, or, you're so set in your ways where you feel like, well, this is just the way I am. And you can't really change somebody else. So there are times where I did feel like, not that I wanted to step away and say leave the relationship, but step away and like, okay, I don't want to say what have you gotten yourself into, because that doesn't sound good, but what have you gotten into, you know, and how are you going to move past this? And what I think about that keeps me there and wanting to fight for it is, I look at what I have prayed for, what I've wanted in relationships, the relationships that I've had in the past, and can I see myself outside of this relationship or with somebody else? And the answer to that is always no. Like, no matter what we go through, how much he frustrates me, how much he gets on my nerve, it's always that understanding of, well, you can go in that room, I go in this room, or whatever, we'll chill out. But at the end of the day, it's always going to be us. We always going to come back together, no matter how long it takes that we need to take that break. We always going to come back together, and that's the one non-negotiable. Like, we going to come back together, and that's it. Would you recommend ladies marry young in their 20s or around 30s, closer to 40s, because of maturity? Honestly, I feel like that depends on the woman and the relationship, because I've seen some women that have that have married early, and also for the reasons. Like, I've seen some that we've gone to high school with, and they've been together since high school. They got married right after high school, and they're still together. But then I've seen some that got married early and didn't last long. But I've also seen some that got married around our age and they didn't last either. So I think that depends on the person and the relationship.
I wouldn't recommend. I honestly wouldn't recommend anyone get married in their 20s. Knowing what I know now, because I don't think people value marriage for what it is. To me, marriage is till death, and people now use marriage as just like a social flex, just to show like, oh man, I had this great big wedding. They have no idea what it is to live on their own. They don't know how to pay a bill on their own. They don't know how to do anything on their own, and they think they're going to get with this person. And now you both of you guys, independent personalities, are now going to somehow coexist with one another when you have no concept of what it's like being an adult on your own. Honestly, man, I think had me and Nene got married in our 20s, we would have been divorced now. Because I know me, I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready to be the family man. I wasn't ready. Even though I always wanted to be married and always wanted to be a family man, I wasn't mature enough to grasp this. Like, things happen in our life where, and I mean, because this is y'all gotta remember, this woman here says she didn't want to talk. And here we are going into 45 minutes. So, but
Don't be calling me out like that.
I'm pretty sure we'll get to the story as her birthday's coming up, because I always like to do it. We'll tell the story of how hard it was for us when my daughter was born. I honestly say that if it ever was going to be a time that we were close to maybe saying, well, I'll say me, I won't say we, that I was close to saying like this isn't going to work, it would have been then, just because of the pressure of the situation that was going on. And I mean, it's like even now as I'm thinking of it, I'm starting to just, my eyes starting to well up, because I remembered the turning point. And if you guys haven't, go listen to that podcast, 77 Days. I mean, it tells the whole story. I remember the turning point. We were coming from the hospital one night, just got through arguing with one another. And I was listening to one of my favorite preachers of all time, G.E. Patterson. And I just like start screaming, like not screaming at her, but just yelling like that release. You know what I mean? Like every now and then you got to have that release, because like I said earlier in the show, I have this thing where I'll hold things in. I'll go into my cave. Again, I got a show called Come Out of Your Cave. And men do that. We go into our cave, and sometimes we end up in those caves and we never come out. Well, that night I came out of my cave, and I think it allowed me to see my wife. Like, I was never mad at my wife. Like, she could tell you, I may have used the F word to her a handful of times. And it's not even like, and in most cases, it was because I was mad at a situation, but just didn't know how to vocalize it, man, because I see her as too precious to me to abuse her. Like, I'll never touch her. I only touch her the way she likes to be touched, but I'll never touch her to hurt her. But I realize that the words could be just as sharp and hurt even more, because I mean, shit, some people say some stuff on YouTube, man, where you got to take a step back and be like, good Lord, whew, like, man, that shit hurt, man. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's what I'm saying, man. Like, I think people in their 20s, man, I think you haven't lived life yet to know, like, you don't know what relationships are and stuff like that. Like, I don't recommend anyone in their early 20s. I mean, you haven't even settled into your careers yet. It's just like the worst thing you want to do is go into a marriage struggling. When my last relationship before Nene was 8 years, And I often say that it was 8 years of wasted time, but I realized the older I get, it was 8 years of a learning experience. And before I got with Nene, I took 13 months off to just be by myself because I said this. I was like, you know what? I was in 3 serious relationships, and the common denominator in every relationship was me. So maybe I was the problem. So I took 13 months off, learned myself, lived by myself. There's another thing about men, man. You can't be so quick to want to go live with every woman that you're with. You gotta give yourself some time to breathe, man. I got my own place. I just did my thing, man. I got another job, I got a night job. I just did my thing. I consumed myself so much in me that that if any woman was going to get close to me, you knew she had to be special because I was taking a chance on myself then. Like I was loving me. And it's like when I saw her, I was like, man, I was like, damn it, man. She got me again. I never forget. I called my cousin Steven. I called my cousin Steven after the first date. We went to a restaurant called Bonefish Grill. After the first date on my way home, I called my cousin Steven and I said, I think I'm about to go back on lockdown. I told him, I mean, if Steven got his my witness, he could go on here and he could come on here and tell you, man. I said, I think I'm about to go back on lockdown. I said, I think this is it here. That was after the first date. I hadn't even touched the girl yet. I think it was just, but it was, you know, when somebody touches your innards, you know what I mean? Like we're always attracted to the physical. But in listening to her talk, I wasn't listening to a dumb person talk. I was listening to somebody that actually could hold a coherent conversation. And I ain't gonna lie, when we were at the restaurant, what really gave her points is to hear her say shrimp and not shrimp. Because like in Florida, women down here, they say certain words, man. He's just like, man, you're like, get out of here with that shit, man. But no, man, I'm serious though, man. It's like I love her. And that's the thing. I've never been afraid. People always talk about, oh, you keep your relationship private and stuff like that. Yeah, our relationship is private because y'all don't know what we do. But there's no way in the world I'm going to hide my love for her. I'm not going to not profess my love for her on the mountaintop because she deserves that. Like she's the queen of this house. Like that's it. This shit couldn't run without her. You crazy? Like, you imagine me trying to be a single dad? Like, come on, man. That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't ever want to know what that's like. That's crazy, man. It's just, yeah, but I know I did what I said that women do. I asked you one question and then you go around the runway, but I'm gonna bring it back. I don't think you should get married until you're in your 30s. Probably 40s, to tell you the truth. Keep it a buck, man, because the divorce rate is too high. The divorce rate in America is over 50%. And that's insane. That means that there's a lack of respect for marriage. Nobody honors marriage anymore. And if you're not going to honor it, then don't do it. That's always my thing. If you're not going to honor the sanctity of marriage, then don't do it. Just continue to date, be boyfriend and girlfriend. Why dishonor the sanctity of marriage? I believe that the Most High instituted marriage. I believe that. And that's just where I stand on that.
There you have it, folks.
So you have anything left to say? We're closing in on the hour, but I think it was a real good conversation. See, I told you need to be my co-host, you know.
Every now and then. Yeah, every now and then. But I'm excited about the new show. I'm excited about the panel of ladies, my peers that I will be bringing on so that we can have these honest conversations. Again, some of the topics and categories we're going to be touching on are African-American women trying to maintain healthy female relationships, just basically being a Black woman in America, the different stages of motherhood, Black women in their relationships with Black men, and so on and so forth. And we're just looking forward to having some honest conversations. We want as many of you as possible to join us live when we go so that you can join in on the chat. We can respond. If you want to hop up on stage with us, feel free to do that. But it's going to be a good time, and I'm looking forward to it.
And if you haven't done so, I'm assuming you guys done so because I don't know how else you would have saw the video, but please like and subscribe to the channel. We're trying to grow the channel, get the word out there because, you know, people are used to seeing me elsewhere, but, you know, this is where I'm going to be from now on. So just if you could just help get the word out, just won't cost you a thing. Just hit the like and subscribe button, share the video on your community wall or whatever you got to do, man. And we'll be over here. So like I say, we'll always do the UFC shows. We're going to do a prediction show and a post show. Me and VanCat towards the end of April will start our wrestling show. And I always got the Straight Talk sessions. The Straight Talk sessions will be going on throughout the week. Friday nights it was normally the night I always did them. I think that I'll stick to Friday nights, and I may do one, just a pop-up show throughout the week, but I could only do it at home, so I can't just do random shows at work. So it'll always be a set time, and if I am going to do a show, you'll always see the premiere. VanCat taught me that, hey, always put a premiere tab. So you'll always see the premiere. That's why it's important that you subscribe to the channel. You'll never just see any bullshit videos pop up. So when you see a premiere, like that's what it's going to be. Just that's the show that you're going to be looking forward. So I do have one more announcement. You got anything before I go into here?
No, I'm good, baby.
All right. So, and I want to thank everybody that's in the chat, everybody that's in the clouds watching. Yeah, I mean, our UFC show is doing tremendous. But I mean, over time, you know, the word gets out and we'll get the things going. That's all good. See, with me, I don't really care about the numbers, man, because I'd rather just put out the quality show. I want to put out the quality show and give people a safe space. And in time, they'll come over. Everybody will be a part of the society. Everybody will be part of the society that wants to be. You can come and go as you please. So I have some very exciting news. Very exciting. And now I could say it because it's been confirmed. Got another show tomorrow night. I'm going to do the thumbnail tomorrow night at 8:00. You guys have heard me talk about my therapist friend. And if you ever listen to my podcast, Straight Talk with Trevor, on all major podcast platforms, she is one of my most revered guests. And she is part of the Straight Talk Society. So now that I'm doing streams over here, she'll be over here. She has agreed to do a show with me tomorrow, because I was sent a video. I was sent a couple of them, actually, very disturbing articles on teachers having sexual relationships with children. So I reached out to Dr. Mia, and she agreed to come on tomorrow night and break this thing down. Now, I must warn you, I'll be the one coming from the side of we're just reading the story. This is what we're going to do. She is going to come at it from a clinical perspective, because that's what she does. Any conversation we have, she breaks it down clinically. I sent her the link. She may be in the chat. Mia, if you're in the chat, let me know if you're in the chat, and if you want to come up and say something, come up. But yeah, she is going to be on tomorrow night about 8:00 is when we agreed to do it. That's going to be a show you don't want to miss, man, because that's what I'm saying, man. We're going to be talking about the shit that matters in our community. I'm tired of hearing everybody just blah, 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 blah about stuff that'll never happen, or everybody's just always doing this. What about the shit that we can fix? How are we going to protect our babies? Most of us have kids. Most of us send our kids to school. And we send them there trusting that the teachers will protect them and watch over them, not have sexual relationships with them. And we need to start calling some of this stuff out and stop acting like it doesn't exist, like it's not out there. Last year, I just read an article, and I'm going to bring it up tomorrow. 349 reported cases of sexual misconduct in schools across the United States. That means one a day almost. And that's what was reported. So you could add another couple hundred on there, because that just was swept under the rug. We got to do so. We got to protect these kids, man. And these are young kids. These aren't even like high school kids. These are like 10, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old kids. Like, where is the disconnect? Where has society failed? Where have we failed? Where has the school system failed? Where has everybody failed these kids, man? And so that's what we're going to talk about tomorrow, man. So y'all stay tuned. Hit that like and subscribe button, because I'm telling you, Dr. Mia is coming on. And listen, that woman could break some stuff down. She has a Whitley Gilbert and Dwayne Wayne breakdown that I don't think anybody in this world has ever heard. Hopefully she'll break that down tomorrow. But man, like, we got a problem. And that's what I want to talk about on this show. Let's break down the problems that plague our community. And once we bring them to the forefront, then we'll find solutions for them. And that's the only way we'll move forward as people. That's we don't need another savior. We don't need another leader. We just need to get together and work together and help one another out. That's the way we save our community. That's the way we save our kids. Speaking of kids, my kid is standing in front of me, being extra baby. Okay, baby, I'm gonna shut the show down. So, Straight Talk Society, it's been another tremendous session. We only planned on being here for about 30 minutes. Let me see, is Dr. Mia in the chat? I need to figure out how to hook this up to my TV. Yeah, Juju. So I hope I know you work long on Saturdays, man, but I hope you're listening. It's gonna be tomorrow at 8. So I hope you're tuned in, listening. And if you want, you could jump on the panel. Yeah, but peace to Venkat, Juju, the new lady from Ireland. What was her name? Let me scroll back up. Ellie. Yeah, Ellie. Yeah, Ellie from Ireland. Nice. Thanks for coming on over to the Straight Talk Society. Hope you'll subscribe to the page and come back. I'm pretty sure we have tons of great content for you. Peace to Kevin. Oh my goodness, Kevin's in the chat. If Kevin ever came on this panel and broke down some stories from his life, I mean, that's what I'm saying. This thing could reach so much further than just all the bull crap that's going on. We actually have an opportunity to reach people and to help people and to impact some change. And with that, I'm going to close out the show. Thanks to everybody that came on tonight. Thanks to you guys that's listening in the cloud. Those of you listening in the clouds, please hit the like button. Help your brother get in the algorithm. So if my wifey doesn't have anything else to say, I'll leave you with these words. Always seek out the truth for yourself, because if not, you'll fall victim to other people's interpretations of them. And with that, until tomorrow night, peace.
But it's a must, you gon' respect this. Plus you're nuts with dust to dust, you tryna check this. You ain't insane, I write your name down on my checklist. You think I'm playing, I leave you laying, I leave you breathless. I'm not a heathen, please believe I'm breathing for a reason. Until I'm bleeding, really feeling this world is so misleading. Sacrifice your life at night while facing certain sorrow. Your existence is at stake, you might not make tomorrow. Lost my heart when I was crossed, don't wanna make amends. Much too smart, my afterthought, don't wanna make no friends. If you're a fraud, then it's so hard to get a second chance. You could die in front of my eyes, won't get a second glance. As human beings, instead of being so many try to be. You ain't seen what I have seen in my society. So F the killers, F the dealers, F the police. Middle finger in the sky till I die, no peace. Middle finger to the world. Every man, every woman, every boy, every girl.
Always seek out the truth for yourself.